Hi guys, so today I'm sharing with you my go-to burger recipe, and I've of course improvised this a little bit and added some vegetables, some root vegetables in here. So what we're starting off with is 2 pounds of ground meat. I have beef here, so it's about two and almost a quarter pound, but that would make easily make about four big burgers or about eight small ones. So that's that, and I'm going to pull off something here. I have tried using radish, but this time I'm going to add a couple of baby beets as well. So this is my first time trying the baby beets. I'm adding the vegetables, but you could do the same thing without the vegetables, or you could do it with the radish alone, and I've done that. And it's been great. With the radish, it's fantastic. You barely taste it because the radish really blends in with the meat. Beets, we're going to try and see how it comes. So I have my Kerala knife and I have my peeler, and all I need is my grater as well. And you can see this beetroot is really nice and fresh. And this radish, I had used some of it before, so it was a rather long one. So this is about, I think, about 4 inches, 4 to 5 inches. And I just, as you saw, cut off the ends because that's the part that had oxidized since I had used part of it. And then you just peel off the skin. By the way, that's an OXO peeler, and that, I think, the OXO brand peeler is the best peeler. I even gave one to my mother who's in Kerala, and she uses it for potatoes and carrots, and it works great. So you could do the same with the beets as well. So this is, they're both seasonal vegetables, root vegetables. It's winter, and so the baby beets are really nice this time of year, and so is the radish. In fact, I think the Japanese use radish with their meat dishes, and I had this Tibetan friend who said that they have a dish as well that goes well with meat and radish together. That's really good. So I think those two are meant to go together, and we'll see how beets work as well. I just find this is a great way to sneak in some vegetables into the burger. So I'm getting my grater here, and we're also going to cut the radish into smaller pieces so that it's easy to handle. So this grater is okay if you don't have a large quantity to grate, but I think I'm finding it a little bit hard. So I will probably switch it out for a bigger grater. So if you're making maybe half of this quantity, say for a 1 pounder burger, this would work. Okay, enough of that grater. So now I'm going to bring out my bigger grater that I have, and oh, so much better with this one. So much easier, so much faster. Now we just give it a good mix, and remember, we don't add any seasoning, nothing at this point. Guys, this is well blended now. I can see it's evenly mixed, so it's ready to go. So this part is important. If you can help it, please use a cast iron pan, a well-seasoned cast iron pan. I think it makes a big difference in the taste, and it also sears the meat really well. So this is a must if possible. Now we're going to shape these into patties, and I'm going to tell you the most important secret trick that I have up my sleeve here. So just pat it into a nice shape, smooth out the edges, and then drum roll, this is what we do. We make a hole in the center because, this way the patty does not puff up in the middle and it cooks more evenly. So, like a donut shaped patty, I found works really well. So we cook this about 4 minutes on each side because these are not very big patties. These are only about 3 inches. So 4 minutes on each side, and you can also cover it. But in my case, what happened was that these I don't have a big enough lid because you must make sure that the patties do not touch, because if they do touch and you cover it, it just loses all the juices come running out. So I had to go back to using just two patties at a time in order to be able to cover it. And you want to cover it for about, say, 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how well you like it cooked through. Now for the salt. Now, since we don't have a lot of ingredients going into it, it's important to have good quality salt. So I have a nice white Italian salt, sea salt here, and a Himalayan salt. So, while we're on the topic of salts, this is a lovely sea salt, coarse sea salt I got from Oman. I'm really excited about it, and this is stored in a little ceramic jar, just like my grandma used to store it, in what they call in Kerala what's called a bharani. And yeah, it's like Chinese ceramics. So anyhow, let's start with adding some Himalayan salt, sorry, and some pepper. This is the only thing that goes into it. Now here I tried to be a little fancy and used a spoon instead of just sprinkling it using my fingertips. I should have done that because I think the salt, even though looks like a whole lot I'm adding, it was, most of them was, it was just right, but maybe in a couple cases I thought it got a little too salty. So I think while using my fingertips and sprinkling over, I just have better control. But the patty does need to be really well seasoned, so do not be afraid. Salt is okay because we're not adding any mayonnaise or any of that condiments to this. And then of course grind some pepper as well liberally over the patty. And now we're going to repeat this on the other side as well. You can see that the sugar in the beets have given the burger a nice char on the outside. So as far as the temperature is concerned, just keep the stove at medium to high in the beginning. And what you can do is that after you flip it over, you can bring it down to medium or, medium. And then when you have it covered for 2 minutes, you could almost put it on medium low. But yeah, you just want to make sure that it's kind of cooking through and not really just burning on the outside. Okay, now I'm going to make two at a time because I had crowded the other four together in order to cover it. So this way there's room between the burgers, and that's much better. Also better to sprinkle salt this way. And don't be afraid to to add salt. I think salt is a bit maligned needlessly. Because you need the seasoning, I feel. It reminds me of this friend of mine who went to Chez Panisse, quite a celebrated restaurant here, and she came back kind of underwhelmed, and she was like, they need to add a little bit of salt to the food. So yeah, I always remember that, and salt has its place. You should not go overboard, but you could use some liberally at times. Since we're using very few ingredients, we want to make sure that we get all ingredients of really high quality. So here's some really fresh lettuce, and brioche buns go really well with this burger. Nice, soft, eggy brioche. Place some lettuce on top, and that's all you need for a scrumptious, delicious burger. And voila, here we are with some chips on the side, and we are all set. So I'm going to do a taste test now. This is my first time adding the beetroot, so we'll see how it is. I asked my son, he tried it, and he was like, I give it a 9.3 out of 20. No, he was kidding. 9.3 out of 10. So let's see how this is. Mm, so it's really well seasoned. Maybe I could go a little easy on the salt. But it's really, you need the salt because there's no other seasoning in here, and the vegetables have no seasoning. So you're adding that extra bit of vegetables too. And I think it's great. You get vegetables. Look at how it looks. It looks like a rare burger, but it's not. It's beetroot. Beetroot is a good idea. I have tried it only with the radish before, and why not? The more the merrier. So these two vegetables, the radish and the beetroot, definitely work. I think what's game changing here is making that hole in the middle and seasoning it well with just salt and pepper. And that's it. The flavors just go through and it's well cooked. Make sure you have it warm, right after you make it. And there's barely any prep, barely takes any time. And I've tried burgers with all kinds of things, eggs in it, crushed crackers, onions, all kinds of herbs, cheese, this seasoning and that seasoning, God knows what not, Please, you don't need any of that.
Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please.
This, it's simple, it's easy, and it's got the flavor of the meat. It's healthy, as healthy as it can be. You're adding some veggies to it, and just do this. Don't bother with any other recipe out there. This is good, and you feel really adventurous, you can try that, but keep this as your basic hamburger recipe. Oh.